Oh, there he is. There
Hello,
he is. I spoke
hello,
too
hello.
soon.
Hello.
Can we all hear and see each other just fine?
You're wearing
Just
that old
ignore me.
t-shirt.
I'm going away.
Editorial bias right here. You know this is a friendly place.
Cool.
So it's a real pleasure to see you. As a matter of fact, my first Jason concert was about 20 years ago this week, right down the road from here. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, 30 concerts later, here we are.
Oh my gosh. Where's right down the road?
Asbury Park, the Stone Pony.
Yeah. Oh my
Oh,
gosh. Was that on my birthday?
yeah, that's right. It was. Yeah,
With
happy
Maroon
birthday,
5?
by the way. Yeah,
Wow. Yeah,
that's
that was 20 years ago, probably 2003 at Stone Pony.
2003, and I met your father outside, and he was a very proud man that night.
Oh gosh, nothing has changed. He will still be at the shows.
Wonderful. Yeah, I met him since.
Thank goodness.
So,
Yeah.
so just to, I know you have limited time here, so I just wanted to say, first of all, the album is great. I think it's probably my favorite since 15 years. It's so good. Uh,
Thanks.
love it. I think Love
Great.
Romeo sounds like a hit, but what do I know? Uh,
Hey, thanks.
so, it's what a lovely addition to our summer, to have such a robust, sunny set of songs. Um, I talked to Melissa Manchester once, and she said something very interesting. She said that joy is something that one chooses consciously to
Yeah.
have. In such dark times, how do you retain such optimism in your songwriting?
Um, I maintain optimism because the act of playing music itself, the very simple act of making sound out of silence, making something out of nothing, um, turns me from I am nothing into I am something. Or it turns me from I am worthless into I am a creator. And it happens instantaneously. I mean, as soon as I sit down at a piano and make a sound or strike a chord, my whole nervous system reacts to that. And so it's it's like a sonic version of taking some kind of magic pill because the sound then envelops you or you hear it reverberating around the room. And that to me is this little reminder that what I think of the world can be transformed, right? And so I get to experience the optimism of like, I believe sound will come out of that. Boom, it did, and I believe that I can uh, heal some emotion I'm struggling with through this sound, through this experience of sound, by shaping words or by singing melodies and chords that touch my emotions. So yeah, it's the music itself that keeps me sort of um, um, hopelessly hopeful. Uh, yeah,
I like that way of putting it.
yeah,
And it's I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's a rarity to me to find positive energy. We're kind of living in a strange era to begin with.
yeah,
Music industry has changed so much in just 20 years. Um,
right.
do you feel, as an entertainer, do you feel a responsibility to sort of, inject that levity, that sort of catharsis for people, while at the same time, being truthful to yourself? It's kind of a high wire act sometimes, I bet.
Yeah. So if my optimism springs from being able to create music, what will then happen to me during that process is I get transformed, I get healed, I get uplifted, I get reassured. Something happens to me where I start to feel better and my joy gets strengthened. So if it works for me, then that's what try to then recreate on stage, or I'll try to recreate on microphones and then release to the world, because this was a little experience that worked for me. Maybe it'll work for somebody else. Or at the very least, I'll get to recreate it night after night on stage, which again is going to work for me to maintain my joy, right? It's following my joy through music. At the same time, I become, all of us are aware that yes, there's a lot of negativity out in the world, and it's due to our concentrated focus on that negativity, or it's due to hyped media on certain evildoers,
Mhm.
and our awareness of harmful legislation and climate crisis and the lack of gun control and fear, 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 fear. Right?
Mhm.
That's always present, and so knowing that, I feel it's a creator's opportunity to create something that counters that negativity, um, as an alternative for someone's time and attention. Because my song may not change the world, but it might be able to change someone's moment.
Mm.
And sometimes we just need a moment to take a breath and go get re-inspired, so
Mm.
that we can continue to, all of us as creators, find ways to counteract all the negativity in the world and try to, in a way, save the world, you know.
When I see people leave your concerts, as I have many times, people always leave with a smile on their faces, and it's not a dumb smile, it's a cerebral smile. You
Oh, thanks.
Sure. And
Thanks.
you're very welcome. And that makes me think, I mean, when I heard I Feel Like Dancing last summer, I thought this has to be a single. So I'm glad the video is fantastic.
Oh, cool.
So just when you do, and you did a few songs from the new record live, does the audience in a sense sometimes tell you where the songs are going? Like, is it a reciprocal relationship when you sort of like test them out before you may record them?
Yeah, for sure. A song like You Might Like It,
Hmm.
which has just come out, we were playing that on our tour in 2019, and we tried again on our tour in 2022. And each time getting a little further with it, and the audience reaction was a clear indicator, because it's not that we're looking for what they like, it's more obvious what they don't like, because you get this kind of nice applause and that's it. Or um, what you'll get is kind of silence from it. Like by the end of a tour, you realize, well, no one ever commented on this song, no one ever requested this song again. Clearly nobody cares about this song, so let's not record that on the album. But we've got these other songs that, gosh, people were moving, but then they kind of got bored by the third minute. So what can I do? Or we got bored on the third minute. Like we didn't know how to end the song for the audience. So what can we then do? So yes, performing live is a great way to um, research and develop some compositions.
Mm. One I remember is Christmas is Calling. I hope you don't forget that one. That was
Oh,
such
cool. Thanks.
beautiful, beautiful.
I do have a lot of holiday tunes that one day I would like to record a holiday album. I just didn't want to do a covers album. I wanted to do a holiday album of all originals. So
Oh, okay. That, and
I'm getting there.
that reminds me, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Would you ever consider doing, because you do so many great covers. I'm reminded of Can't Go For That by Hall and Oates, and your Summer Breeze is fantastic.
Oh, cool.
A friend of mine has said, God, he would do such a great Spooky or Stormy, from Classics 4.
Mm,
Oh, you'd sound so good doing it. Would you ever consider doing that? You do Great American Songbook so well too.
thank you.
Like the Jason Mraz covers record.
I think there's a time and place for it. I've I never felt like I did a cover like it's justice. So many songs are already great. It's like uh it's hard to live up to them. But like in the case of Summer Breeze, I had already been performing it in coffee shops, so I'd kind of come up with an arrangement that I liked that had a lot of scat in it, and
Yeah.
I was lucky to be able to record that version. So I guess in short, yes, I could see myself doing that. I just need to collect enough covers that I believe in, that I can also connect my voice to them.
Okay.
Because I feel like that I need to believe the lyric as well, like it's coming from me.
Right. That Ella Fitzgerald.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, So for those who haven't seen you perform live and might be looking to see you this summer, because you got a lot of dates lined up, or even for the initiated, are there any surprises that you can hint at, or what can people expect at this summer's Jason Mraz show? Let's put it that way.
Hmm. Well, I am bringing my super band. They are super. They give me superpowers because they allow me to do things that I don't normally get to do. So in one aspect of the super band, I like to think that we can be a little bit of a jam band and get lost in some trading of solos and some musical explorations that even us on stage aren't sure where they're going to go, which I've always loved about live music. Raining Jane is a part of that band. They're, of course, my co-writers on this new album.
Oh, great.
The Groove Line horns are back. They're our big brass section from
Yes,
Austin,
yes,
Texas. Yep. We'll see Mona Tavicoli on the drum kit sometimes, which is wonderful. She's a brilliant percussionist that I always keep downstage, but for some of these new songs, she's going to be rocking the kit. Yeah, a big band, multi-instrumentalists. As you know, you've probably seen some shows with the big band. Um, Obviously leading into the new album a bit, but tapping into older songs still that I think resonate with the themes of the new album.
Okay.
We will have a video aspect this time around, so people who are maybe sitting on the lawn or in the back, they'll be able to watch the show on a more close-up, intimate level, and that's something we've not carried with us for many years. So we'll have a strong visual presence at the show.
Cool.
Also, our openers are pretty exciting. Both Monica Martin and Celise.
Very nice.
Celise on the West Coast and Monica basically on the East Coast. Both of them amazing up and comers. Or I should say, I mean, they're already out there doing it, but excited to be sharing the night with them as well.
Excellent. That's great.
Yeah.
I wonder what message you might have to share from what wisdom you've learned about, struggling to, stand embodied in your truth, because, you've been very open about being bisexual and talked about how you struggled with how you were going to have that be part of your public persona. What are some of the struggles that you've learned from about, embracing your authenticity? Because, a lot of younger people who, are very young, they don't really know what it was like 20 years ago. It's a completely different world now.
Yeah. I think I grew up on a conservative street. Looking back at it, it's like I used to say I grew up in a conservative town, but I can't throw my entire town as blame because it was actually a quite progressive city in the middle of a red state. But there were a few on my street that I guess at the right age made me nervous enough about my thoughts and feelings that I just shut the F up for my whole life. And identifying as bi was tough as well because it was almost like I was in denial of the times when I was doing gay things. Because it's hard to, if I'm doing something that one might consider gay, I couldn't fully embody that if I was still going to go and be in a hetero romantic relationship after that. So it kind of became this like secret life or which I didn't feel was part of my musical story and part of my public persona. And being in any relationship publicly is hard because there's expectations or there's just comments about it and there's photos around it and it becomes public consumption. And so after many failed hetero romantic relationships, I said, well, maybe there's something to this. Maybe there's a reason these relationships are failing. Maybe I'm not being fully real with myself, or real with the public. So I felt it was important to just start sharing about this, in a way that, you know, hopefully doesn't cause harm to anyone I was ever in a relationship with. But be transparent, especially in a time when it seems like the walls are closing in on people in the LGBT community. I think allies are needed more than ever, especially any allies that may have had experiences and know that, you know, everybody deserves to have the same rights. And there's a decades long, if not centuries long, fight for independent autonomy and equality, you know, that each of us can just live our freaking lives. And imagine a world where we're all just mystified that we're even here on the planet, and so mystified by it that we respect every human we see, because it's a fucking miracle that they're here too, you know, on this brief experience of consciousness that we all get, you know. Whatever our lifespan is a freaking miracle. And so I think it's important, as a storyteller, as a creator, entertainer, as a people, to be out and proud with anything that we love and are mystified by, so that we can inspire everyone else to be out and proud and mystified by, and if not out, still be proud and feel whole and complete with what we're getting through our life experience. The last thing, you know, life already is hard. We learn it at 5, 6, 7 years old, when we start to discover death, when we start to discover suffering and pain and newer and emotions. So life is hard from the time we come online at that age. Why make it harder on each other? You know, why make it hard on each other? And that's kind of how what I've experienced in life was like at a young age, feeling that life is hard. Don't make it harder for yourself, right? So I kind of just stayed in a closet where I thought I should, and in a way overcompensated on my heteroromantic relationships publicly, as if to say to those boys I grew up with on that street, that you don't need to pick on me.
Right.
You know? But those days are over, you know?
What would you say to that younger person now?
Luckily he died. That's a horrible thing to say. But that might be part of why, like, I felt finally okay. Isn't that weird? Like, subconsciously, I was like, right around the same time I started to feel okay talking about it is ironically when this person passed away. And I actually would forgive him if he were around, because looking back, I understand he was in a tragic household. And his actions were just the result of how his dad was treating him, you know?
That's right.
So I would treat him with more compassion and forgiveness, because I mean, ultimately this person ended up turning to drugs and killed themselves with drugs, probably because of the enormous amount of suffering they were experiencing. And when someone is suffering, then they're going to pass on their suffering to someone else. And so it's an important lesson in life. If someone is coming at you with anger and suffering, are causing you suffering, it's because they themselves are being attacked somewhere. They are themselves are suffering for that exact same reason, and it's being projected outwardly onto others. And so to learn how to be more compassionate with others, with even our haters, is a big life lesson. And it may take a whole lifetime to learn it.
And with ourselves as well, ultimately too.
Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And not to just a hopscotch, because we only have a minute or two left. For those who are very fortunate enough to see you in Waitress, I'm sure many of them would like to know, would you ever consider musical theater again? As New York audiences certainly had that nice treat of seeing you.
Thank you. Yes, I would consider Broadway again. When I got to do Waitress, my phone rang and Sarah Bareilles was on the other end, and she said, "Hey buddy, would you want to come out and be Dr. Pomander for a couple of months?" And I couldn't believe it. I felt like a contest winner, because I something I always wanted to do, but the audition process always just scared the heck out of me. And I thought, why go audition when I can just go play on the sidewalk and immediately have music in my life?
Yeah.
I thought that the audition process would kill me. So thanks to Sarah, I got to skip that process and jump right into the role. And I loved it. I loved going through the stage door and being part of a cast and singing amazing songs 8 times a week to a captive audience. I didn't have to make a set list. I didn't have to worry about what hat I was going to wear. I got to put all my narcissism aside and be someone else. And it was a real treat. So yes, I would gladly do it again if it was the right show and the right songs, and I felt like I could be that character.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I would certainly love that. Now,
thanks.
Is there anything else before we go that you would like to tell our readers about the record or the tour that we haven't touched on? Besides the fact that it's fabulous and it's overdue for club mixes, I want to hear Jason Mraz and the clubs. That's what I want to hear.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, I have a couple of remixes actually that we've been working on that are really cool. Nice. Yeah, for I Feel Like Dancing so far. Those are the two.
Good.
Well, I am aware that audiences go through a lot to get to a show, you know, from purchasing the ticket to commuting to the show, parking, you know, becoming part of 5,000-10,000 people. You know, it's tough on the nervous system. So I try to acknowledge that and recognize or view the show as a yoga class. Like, sometimes it's hard to get there, you know, and okay, now that they're there, let's forget about the rest of the world for the next 90 minutes to 2 hours. Let's breathe together, let's sing together, let's tune our awareness to the things we're grateful for, the people in our lives, the experiences we've had. And so I view the opportunity, the concert opportunity, as a transformational experience to come and, again, be mystified by your own life through these songs and through this experience. And so that's what I hope the audience can get out of it, is that they leave a little different than how they came in, and that they take with them tools for a continued mystical, magical life experience.
I like that. And I definitely jives with my experience of your shows. So I think
wonderful. Thanks, Rudy.
So
Awesome.
I will see you in Queens and probably Philadelphia as well.
Wonderful. Well, Queens is going to be the exception because that's with the New York Pops.
I know. Yeah.
So that will be not the entire super band, but only select members. It'll be Raining Jane and a couple of people from the band, because the New York Pops has a brass section. right? So I won't be bringing the brass from Texas.
Mhm.
But the arrangements are coming together nicely. There's about half of the new album has been arranged for the orchestra,
Right.
and then the other remaining songs will be, from songs throughout my catalog.
Excellent.
But it should be that should be a wonderful sonically rich experience. I'm really looking forward to that.
I look forward to it. I would request the forecast, but you know what?
Holy smokes!
I love that song. I never heard you do it live, but I don't know if that's going to fit your tour this summer. But just, I don't know, keep it.
Yeah. Wow, there's a good chance in hail,
Ah,
like cats and dogs will be flying.
cinematic writing at its best.
Thanks so much. That's so nice of you to say.
You're very welcome. And I'll make sure to mention that to our readers that the New York Pop Show will be unique. So
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Rudy.
thank you so much. And I will see you at the record event in a couple of weeks in New York City. I just heard about it. So
Oh, at Barnes and Noble bookstore?
yep, we'll come out and celebrate you.
Great. Thank you so much. That's so nice of you.
My
I'll sign your
pleasure,
record.
as always. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for your time today.
you got it. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Thanks for wearing the shirt.
Sure. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.